Hello, everybody. Kyle here. I am going to be discussing the new trailer that just dropped today for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Um, I'm going live to discuss this. I don't know how many people are going to show up to watch this. There might be no one that watches this. There's also, I think, some other live streams going on at the moment, so some people might also be watching those. But I just wanted to discuss this trailer, and I want to go through like shot by shot, you know, everything that has been revealed on it. And if you're watching this video, feel free to comment down below. Feel free to give me your thoughts on the trailer, and we can talk about it because this is a great trailer. Hey, Car, how you doing? This is great. I got one person watching this video. I will see if more people show up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the link to this video. How am I going to do that actually now? I don't know. What did you think of the trailer? Did you have any thoughts about it? Since I see you're in, actually I should put you on the screen. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so good. Oh, you haven't seen the trailer yet. Well, I would recommend to maybe watch it right now, and then you can come back and to talk, hear me talk about it if you want. If not, you can just hear me discuss it. It doesn't matter. But this trailer, it's interesting because this trailer, I think, is kind of pivotal, I should say, in terms of like the marketing for this movie. Also, it's good. Actually, it's good that you're here, Cart. You can hear me, just to make sure you can hear me. I've been having some issues with StreamYard, with YouTube, where I've been uploading videos and none of them have been uploading with the sound and the audio. So like I recorded 2 videos and none of the audio uploaded with it. So this is also, I think, going to be a test to see if it actually uploads. But hopefully, if you can hear me now, and if it's currently live streaming on YouTube, then we should be good. But let me see. Let me look this up. Let me see if I can link this video, because I gotta first link it so that way people can share it. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. This is, I really like the presentation. Copy. Okay. And then I'll link it to Twitter. Let's see. I'm currently live. And just give me 1 second. And I'm right now talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. If anyone wants to watch, okay. Then I'll just post the video. Wait, let me do a hashtag. Maybe a hashtag will bring more people. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Hashtag the Mandalorian. And then I'll tag Star Wars. At Star Wars. There we go. Post. I'm going to send this to some people. There we go. And there we go. Okay, I am back in here. Let's hope it all works out. Okay, so you like the trailer. That's great. Spoiler alert, I very much enjoyed this trailer. I thought this trailer was what we needed from this movie. To give a bit of background, I liked the first trailer. I thought it was a fun little tease for this movie. And I like seeing, Grogu. I like seeing Din. I like seeing Sigourney Weaver, Zeb, a number of characters showing up in there. But the thing with that first trailer was that I didn't think that it did a good job at getting people interested in the movie that weren't already interested in The Mandalorian. And when you look at the history of Star Wars trailers, in particular Star Wars teaser trailers, they usually are very focused on bringing in the casual audience, the general audience, those that aren't necessarily accustomed to seeing every Star Wars show or every movie. How do we get these new audience members in? That's what made The Force Awakens so important. That's why the Rogue One trailers were so great. Almost every, and specifically Disney Star Wars trailers, whenever it came to Disney Star Wars trailers, I always thought they had a fine touch on what worked and what didn't work for audiences. I think a lot of people could point to Solo as the one Star Wars movie that didn't quite grab audiences. And it was like, okay, here's Han Solo, here's Chewbacca. And I feel like many could point to this movie being similar to Solo in a way, where it's like, these are characters we already know. These are characters that people wonder, do we need a movie about, the Mandalorian and Grogu? It's almost, I think we're now in a cynical world when it comes to Star Wars, as opposed to before, where we used to be in more of a, you know, not just positive, but I feel a hopeful world where a lot more people were excited to see the next Star Wars movie and they were excited to see the trailer. Now we've got Star Wars movies. We have Disney Star Wars movies. How do we bring more people to the theater to see them? And the Super Bowl spot dropped, and I didn't like it because I thought it also did the same thing that the first trailer did, in that it once again felt like it wasn't really getting new audiences to watch this movie. And it finally took this trailer. It might be too late, I don't know, but it took until this trailer for, I think, Lucasfilm and Disney to finally get a proper handling of how to market this film. And just this opening shot alone of this, like, it very much reminds me of The Force Awakens, um, of like a sunrise, or of the actual, was it sunrise or sundown, of the ships, of these X-wings, of these Y-wings going into battle. Let's see. It was going to be an uphill battle to get people interested who maybe haven't seen the show to get into this movie for sure. Exactly. And that's another thing. Like, this is the very first Star Wars show that they are making a movie of. And I think that's also something to be noted, because Star Wars has always been at the forefront of pop culture, and it's always been, this is a Star Wars movie. We are going to get people to see it and if it's successful, there might be a TV show as a result. That's what happened with the Clone Wars. Even though the Clone Wars originally started out as a TV series, the very first product they showed to the public was in the form of a movie. And I think what kind of makes this harder is I feel a lot of audiences aren't going, "Oh, I got to go see the new Star Wars movie." They're going, "Wait, how many seasons of this show do I have to watch before I watch this movie?" And I think, at least from what I'm seeing in these trailers, even if you haven't seen the show, I feel like you're still going to be fine. I think what one of the smart things they're doing is the film is kind of resetting the Mandalorian universe. The Razor Crest is back. You have Sigourney Weaver kind of acting as the Carl Weathers character, assigning him a mission. You have a mission that looks like it's detached from like the main Mandalorian story, but and we'll get into this in this trailer. It looks like there are some like seeds being planted. So, I mean, this shot here is awesome. Like, it's a great opening shot. I can't wait to see, you know, what scene this is. I'm assuming it's going to be featuring Sigourney Weaver because in the Celebration footage they showed, or at least some of the photos that were released at Star Wars Celebration in Japan, they have her in her X-Wing pilot suit, and the action figure just came out, and I talked about that on my channel. The action figure has just revealed in her X-Wing. So I'm assuming that Sigourney Weaver, and her character's name is Colonel Ward. I'm assuming that her character is in one of these X-Wings. And I'm also assuming that Carson Teva, who was in the other Mandalorian seasons, he's the pilot, played by, I want to get his name right. I don't want to mess it up. I think it's Paul. Let me see. Paul Sun Young Lee. He is Carson Teva, one of the really lovable pilots in the New Republic now. In this Mandalorian series, he was in Mandalorian, he was in Ahsoka, and we desperately need his action figure soon. So I can't wait to get him once. And I'm assuming they're going to make him for this movie, but they just made a Lego of him. So he's in the Lego set. Let me see. So, okay, enough of this shot. Let's go into, look at that. Now this is interesting here. This is, see that's a R2 unit. And when I first saw it, I thought that was R2, R2D2. And I was like, now hold on a minute here. At first when I saw this, I thought it was like, because when the trailer continues, as you see in the next few shots, it's like they're kind of making fun of the idea that, oh, look, we're expecting this epic Star Wars movies. Oh no, it's just about a father and his son, right? Like, it's a little bit, which is funny because like that's what Star Wars kind of always is. It's about fathers and sons, or parents and their children. But still, it's funny how the way this trailer set up, it makes like a joke of it. And I thought those first two shots weren't even going to be in the movie when I first saw them, because I was like, this is, it's going to tease you this movie, but it's actually this movie. But this is just this cute Grogu sequence. I love it. I love that he's trying to press these buttons. I think it really works for like the kids, like one of the most important things about Star Wars is it's for kids. And I think, and like a lot of people, they say things about, Dave Filoni will never make Andor or these things. And that's okay, because Andor is not for kids. That's a series that is very much for, I feel like maybe teens and young adults, and old adults themselves, but like a kid could probably watch some of Andor and be like, "Oh, that's Star Wars," but with Mandalorian Grogu, this is the exact audience that George Lucas made this series for. And I think with Grogu as a character, he really does bring in kids, and he brings in that cuteness factor that Star Wars has always had. So it's always great to see them embrace that. Exactly. Tony Gilroy and Dave Filoni are both amazing in their skill sets. And I think that's something I wish the Star Wars fandom could agree on. Then again, the Star Wars fandom will never agree on anything, but the beauty of Star Wars is that it's for everyone, and there are stories for everyone. And yes, Skeleton Crew was great. I love Skeleton Crew. Honestly, I think that's one of the best Star Wars shows, at least the Disney shows. I would put like Skeleton Crew, I'd put Ahsoka up there, obviously Andor and the Mandalorian. Those are like the four great Star Wars shows to me. And I think all the Star Wars shows have something in them that really works. But to me, those like four really, at least live action shows, that Bad Batch, Clone Wars, Rebels have all been great. Honestly, Star Wars animation hasn't really done anything wrong. I feel like the least I've liked the Star Wars animated series was Star Wars Resistance, and I still like Star Wars Resistance. If I see Tordoza show up, I'm gonna cheer. If she shows up anywhere, if she shows up in Starfighter, anywhere, I will cheer. Very much love Tordoza, great character. But so anyway, yeah, so, and what's also interesting is like Skeleton Crew takes place in this same timeline. So it wouldn't surprise me if a character or characters from Skeleton Crew show up in Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, if I were Jon Favreau, I would have learned from the mistakes of the Book of Boba Fett, and I would be like, you know what? Not every single Star Wars movie or show has to include other characters from other Star Wars movies or shows. But I think this is a situation where we don't really know what. I mean, there's still a lot of mystery surrounding this movie. So let's see what else is in this trailer here. So this is a new planet, I'm assuming. I don't think it's Coruscant. I don't think it's Coruscant, because I feel like if it was, we would see the air traffic. They may have confirmed. I need to check the Star Wars data bank to see if like they've added new planets for this movie yet. You know what? I'm going to do that right now while we're here. I'm going to check StarWars.com. StarWars.com right now to see more details. Maybe they did reveal it. Is there a data bank for this? I don't think so. Maybe there is, but yeah, so this could be a new planet. It clearly looks like Din is trying to find Rada the Hutt. And I mean, this is one of the biggest, I think, actual like reveals of a story, because the first trailer was very much not about story. It was about Mandalorian Grogu on the big screen. So he's looking for Rada the Hutt. We don't know why. And that's something that I think is going to be the mystery save for the movie. And then we meet this, I forgot the name, it's like an Adrenian. And this is played, this alien is played by Martin Scorsese. It's been confirmed, and I think this is the greatest thing to happen to Star Wars. Martin Scorsese is voicing this Adrenian alien right here. Yes, Jeremy Allen White is voicing Rada the Hutt, which is fantastic. I remember I was on Twitter Spaces the day that they announced it. And I remember my first reaction, because they didn't reveal who Jeremy Allen White was playing. They said he's playing a character in The Mandalorian and Grogu. I was like, well, it's Jeremy Allen White. He's a good actor. That's awesome that he's in Star Wars, but we don't know who he's playing, so I can't get too excited about it. Then they reveal that he's playing Rada the Hutt, and I was like, get out of here. Like, talk about an unexpected surprise. And sure enough, another unexpected surprise has come to us today, because Martin Scorsese is now in the Star Wars universe as a is it an Adrenian? What's his name? Rio Durant, I think, is the name of the character. Ardinian. Ardinian. I don't even know how to say it, but this is the character from Solo, like the alien species from Solo, the one that Jon Favreau played. I really love this species. I love the action figure. They made a really great action figure, and he has like articulated arms and everything. It's a really cool toy. But I doubt that they'll make a toy of this guy. Maybe they will. I don't know. He looks like a Dexter Jettster type character that shows up for information, and and he doesn't want to give it. He's like, "We're closed." Okay, now this is where we get to the good stuff, because right here we have the Hutt twins from Book of Boba Fett. And the one thing that I don't remember, I don't know their names. They probably told us their names in the in like the whether it's the comics or the expanded material, but I don't know their names. I've just called them the Hutt twins. I think it's a brother and sister, and I'm very fascinated by this because apparently they're on Nal Hutta, the home world of the Hutts, which we've never seen in, I think, live action. I'm not sure if we saw it in Clone Wars. I think we saw it in the Force Unleashed video game. Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of have to agree with you here, Carly. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of that Book of Boba Fett. I thought that is the weakest of the Star Wars shows, but mostly that's due to the fact that they took a Boba Fett series and they made it a Mandalorian or Din Djarin series when he shows up and kind of takes over the show, when it should have always been about Boba Fett. And as much as I have my qualms with it, there is something so magical to me about the Mandalorian universe, and I can't escape it. Like, it pulls me in, and I love the characters. A lot of the characters are characters we know from either the movies or the animated material, but then there are some really great new characters, whether it's Din, whether it's Grogu, whether it's Fennec Shand, or the Armorer, right? Where Moff Gideon and Boba Fett kind of based it around more so of the known characters, because even Cad Bane showed up. But there's something with this mythology that is getting exciting, because these twins show up in Boba Fett, and they're like, well, Jabba's dead, and you have now taken over Jabba's palace, and we will be watching you. And it's exciting because, like, yeah, like, what are they doing? Because in the comics, from what I remember reading, a lot of the Hutts, I believe, were killed off, and there was like a Hutt council and everything. Some of that's like in that Crimson Empire with Kira, and I got to go back into that because I'm wondering, because like there's like, I think ever since Jabba was killed, there's been like a fight for power in the Hutt clan. And then like it brings us to Rhoda the Hutt, or Rhoda the Hutt, Stinky from the Clone Wars, Jabba the Hutt's son. And maybe that is where this plays a part. Maybe Din gets captured or gets involved with the Hutt twins, and the only way for him to get out of this is to recruit Rhoda the Hutt so he can then reclaim his father's throne. That could be where we're headed. Also want to point out in the background to the right of the female Hutt, or at least on the left side of the screen, you can see a super battle droid, like a refurbished version. So that looks really, really cool. It looks like we are going to get droids in this movie, which is, I mean, we haven't seen droids in a Star Wars movie, at least like battle droids, that is, since I want to say Revenge of the Sith, if you don't count the Clone Wars animated movie. But another thing that I love about Dave Filoni is he very much, respects the prequels. And one of the things that the sequel trilogy tried to do was forget about the prequels and be like, okay, let's focus back on the original trilogy. But here we're going back to some of the prequels here, which is exciting, meshing the two worlds. Okay, so what else is here? Okay, this is very interesting. This looks like the Shadow Council that was revealed in Mandalorian Season 3 of the remaining Imperial warlords that have been exiled after the fall of the Empire. This is exciting because this was all like, this is a major element of the Aftermath novels. And I still contend, like, I remember the Aftermath trilogy of books, they weren't beloved when they came out, but I think now, if you look back on them, they are really insightful reads on like the status of the galaxy. They've changed a few things. Like, I believe in the books, they demilitarized their entire military, so there's like no ships, there's no like fleets or anything anymore. And that's why like the First Order was able to rise up, because there was no way to stop them. But then they've kind of retconned that. So in the Mandalorian shows, there are fleets. The New Republic has a fleet. So that's a little bit different. But the Aftermath trilogy is really cool because it goes into what happened to like all the Moffs, what happened to Masameta, what happened to Palpatine's people, what happened to all these people that were in power by the time you got to Return of the Jedi, and then once the Empire fell, they had to go into hiding. And these are some of these people. These are some of these Grand Moffs, or at least now they're just Moffs. And it, like, one of the most famous admirals in the books is Admiral Ray Sloane. And I don't know if she's in this group of characters, but it would be really cool if she was. And she's kind of like the heir apparent to like Tarkin and Thrawn, because she's the one that kind of like takes over the Empire once all of them are gone. And but also Thrawn, I'm assuming this show or this movie is in chronological order with the other shows. Currently, in the events of Ahsoka, Thrawn has now returned to this galaxy, and he's now on Dathomir. So there is, like, that is really exciting. Now, obviously, people that don't watch the shows have no idea, but still, and most people don't even know who Thrawn is. But I still think that's pretty cool, and it's going to be exciting to see what these Moffs are up to. You can see some snow troopers. Yeah, well, same here. I definitely wonder if there would be any bearing on Ahsoka Season 2. I think it's intentional that this movie is coming out before Ahsoka Season 2. I have a feeling Zeb will be in Ahsoka Season 2. I do wonder if the Ahsoka characters show up in this movie. Like, once again, you want to keep it on Din, you want to keep it on Grogu, you want to keep it on this story, but there's also, based on just this image alone, there's a grand story taking place. And remember, the original plan was for them to make a Filoni directed Mandalorian verse movie. So we were going to get all the characters, Din, Ahsoka, Boba, probably Skeleton Crew, all come together for a giant movie that would have kind of ended that storyline. And that's what these shows were kind of culminating to. But they want to get a new Star Wars movie out, so they said, let's, instead of making Mandalorian season 4, let's make this movie. And that way, if this is successful, they will now introduce these characters to movie audiences, so when they make a Mandalorian culmination movie, it will be easier to stomach, and I think it will work for more people. Because, I mean, right now, this movie, we kind of have to look at as like the first movie in a possible trilogy, not like the sequel to a series. This movie kind of has to stand alone as its own thing. But if it's kind of teasing future stories, we'll have to see. I'm hoping it's successful, because I don't want it to be like Solo, where like they tease this amazing Darth Maul, story, and then they went nowhere with it. Yeah, well, like, it's weird because some people have said that it is still happening, and then some other people have said that they've kind of put it on pause. But I'm with you. I think it is still happening. Like, I think this movie, though, is going to determine whether it gets made. Because if this movie doesn't do well, I think that will be very bad for the Mandoverse movie. And I think that it could be a good thing for the storyline, because I personally would want the television show stories to stay on television. Um, I feel it's a little odd to end it in a movie form, but if it works, it works. Um, I'm hoping it doesn't get too complicated like the Marvel shows where it felt like you had to watch everything. Yeah, that's something they definitely have to be reticent of. I also feel like one issue with um the Marvel shows is that when they introduce like a character in a show and then they put him in a movie, it does make people feel like they have to watch that show before they can see the movie. I think that is something that also hurt the Marvels, in that I feel some people just thought they had to watch the TV shows, WandaVision, Miss Marvel, and that intimidated them from seeing the movie, when they could have maybe just called it Captain Marvel 2 and it might not have been as, confusing for them. I don't know. But yeah, they have to be very careful with that when it comes to the Star Wars shows. I feel like the Star Wars shows are starting to fall into that too, because I don't know if you remember, but like when the Mandalorian season 1, season 2 came out, everyone was watching that. That was like the most popular show on television at that point. And then once they started to make Boba Fett, once they started to make um Ahsoka, and they started to make they started to make so many of these shows that a lot of people stopped feeling like they could watch them, and you saw less people watching them. I do wonder like if the shows were better received, maybe it would have been different, but still it's a shame that that happened. This guy's some type of Moff, maybe an admiral. Um I don't know who he is. But it is really nice to see a human character show up, because so far the only humanoid characters we've seen entire in this entire movie are Sigourney Weaver and Din. Like, it's pretty remarkable how this movie is mostly filled with either puppets or CGI creations. What's funny too is I remember um was it Howard Stern? Someone said I think Howard Stern said this in 1999 when the when the Phantom Menace came out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it is what it's a. I came in wanting to see a Star Wars movie, but all I got were a movie about a bunch of puppets." um, and it was funny because like even then, like that movie Phantom Menace has a lot of human characters in it, but even then, people are like, there are a lot of creatures in this. I'm someone that loves the creatures, but it is interesting to bank your movie on really only two notable actors in Pedro Pascal and Sigourney Weaver. Um, we're not used to that with Star Wars. Usually, we're used to like giant ensemble pieces. Um, there's some Colonel Ward giving Mandalorian and Grogu a mission. Grogu's wearing some type of, you know, Beskar protection, and he has his little like wrist rocket. I don't even know like how old is Grogu, like 4 years old or 5 years old? Like what is Grogu's age in relevance to human age? Because like Yoda's small, so that I mean his species is a small species, but he also can't speak, at least in fluent basic. So I wonder if like this movie's gonna end and he's gonna be like My name is Grogu. And then that's how it ends. Jon Favreau, I am Iron Man. I am Grogu. Okay, this shot, let's see if I can play it. This shot was in the Celebration Japan footage that I did watch the leak of. I'll say this, the Celebration Japan footage for this movie they released last year is still, I think, the best look we got of the movie, because this whole sequence, it's essentially Din, I think he's like attacking an Imperial base, and then he goes and attacks an AT-AT. And there's this like great shot here where he shoots his flamethrower out, and then he shoots that guy with that guy's gun, shoots that guy, and shoots him again. Like, that's great. That's just some great footage. Okay, let's see. And there's Sigourney Weaver, our favorite Sigourney Weaver. I love her one comment she made about this movie, where they asked her, why did you star in this Star Wars movie? And she said that she was kind of impressed because most of these other Star Wars films they release, they're trying to outdo the other, and they're trying to be like, this is the most Star Wars of all Star Wars. This is the best one yet. And this one is really just operating in its own little world. It's not focused on being the greatest Star Wars movie ever. It's not focused on being, a film that kids are gonna watch and be like, oh man, I'm gonna ponder the Joseph Campbell books and hero's journey stories. It obviously has that in there, but at the end of the day, this movie looks very much like the original Star Wars, which is a fun action adventure that harkens back to the old serialized, those old-fashioned 1930s, 40s serials. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers. So that's what you always got to do when you're watching Star Wars. You got to say to yourself, where did this come from? Like, what inspired Star Wars? And does it still truly embrace those inspirations? And Favreau and Filoni get that. They know exactly what inspired George Lucas. They know that Star Wars being this fantasy adventure that also had a bit of a Western element to it. It's all in there. It's all baked in. And I think that this movie is still very much harkening back to those old Star Wars traits. This shot's interesting. This was, I believe, in like an extended trailer, and it's just Grogu destroying a mouse-like droid. Wonderful. Now this, oh man, this is incredible. This is incredible. This is Nal Hutta being attacked, I'm assuming, by the New Republic. Because who else is going to attack Nal Hutta? Certainly not, anyone that has a small army on display. Because they got droids here. They got those droids being, those ships being shot out. Looks great. Looks, oh boy, I can't wait to see this battle. This is one they're definitely saving. Either they'll show another trailer or they'll wait for the movie. Let me see this. Now this is, oh boy, this is where we really get to. So a couple of months ago, or actually probably a year ago, it was leaked that the bounty hunter Embo from the Clone Wars was going to be in this movie. And I believe the first leak was through a toy leak. And for those that don't know, Embo was in the Clone Wars. He's a bounty hunter that has this really cool looking hat, and he can even like ride the hat as like a skateboard or surfboard, or I think sled. And then he has a wolf with him. The wolf's name's Maruk, which ended up being the name of an Inquisitor that they made later on. But this is the first shot of him in the trailer, which I should get a full-on shot. The only problem is, when I first saw this, I thought it was Darth Plagueis. I've never really paid attention to Embo's anatomy before. I was like, these long arms. Like, is this immune? Could this be Darth Plagueis? So that was pretty funny. Someone pointed out, looks like that's Din's home with Grogu, so they're probably tracking him. And here's the money shot of the trailer. They take off Din's helmet. Oh my goodness. I think what's really great about this is that, yes, Pedro was on set for this movie, like they told us. And also, it's just really nice to see them take off Din's helmet, because it felt like when season 2 of Mandalorian ended, it felt like Din's character had now evolved, and he was now able to take his helmet off. And I feel with Mandalorian season 3, it felt like they weren't going along with that character development, and instead they were like, oh no, let's let him keep it on. And here it does not look like it was by choice that he took this helmet off. It looks very much like they removed it from him. Which is very interesting, because would he have let them do this? Yeah. It's one of the best scenes in Star Wars. Just him taking that helmet off and saying goodbye to Grogu. I mean, it really could have been the end of the show. Like, if that's how the show ended and Luke, takes Grogu away, that would have been a perfect ending. Would have been a perfect ending. But you can't end one of the most popular show on television that soon, so they had to continue it. But yeah, like, it makes me wonder, maybe like maybe because he comes in with Grogu, maybe they like threaten Grogu or something, because they threaten him in one of the things they say. I can't remember what they say here, but they say something. And there's Embo. Oh, what a great shot. Cannot wait for Black Series to make a figure of him. Oh, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. There's the twins. There's Pedro. On May 22nd. There's Grogu suiting up. There they go. Him and the Anzellans, the Babu Freak species. Good baby. Bad baby. Then, like, Din says something in this that really touched me when he said his species will live far beyond me. beyond my time. I won't always be there to protect him. And I mean, I'm getting chills just thinking about that, because like on one hand, it's something that all parents have to deal with, right? And children, when like either the parents are no longer there, um, or the kids no longer have their parents there for them. So there's that element of it. But it's also the fact that, yeah, like Grogu is going to live for centuries, and Din will no longer be around. And like I constantly I like look at this. I look at Grogu as a character, and I don't just see, the cutest Star Wars character since, Wicket, the Ewok, right? I see quite possibly 900 years of storytelling in store. Like, could you imagine in like 3000 they will tell the final story of Grogu? It's like, I think I was talking to one of my friends about Doctor Who, and she was saying how like we're never going to actually see the end of the Doctor's story in Doctor Who, because he can just regenerate. And like this is a similar thing. And it just makes me wonder, like, how long will they be telling stories of Grogu? Would they ever like flash forward and be like, okay, let's tell a story that takes place 900 years in the future of Star Wars? Maybe they will. And we'll see how Grogu dies. um but it is sad, and like I feel like we might not be around to see the end of Grogu's story, but I think we're going to be around to see the end of Din's story. And whether it's him dying in a heroic battle or whether him dying of old age, it's going to be rough. That final story of the two of them. Okay, so this is finally we go look at Rod of the Hutt. Still no voice. We're not hearing Jeremy Allen White, but he's fighting him. Looks great. I wonder, like, I want the action figure of this guy. I don't know how much he's going to be, though, because I'm hoping he's not like 50, 60 bucks. Probably will be, though. He has a bunch of weapons. Then there's this guy. Some people are saying he could be a Saboba species, but I don't know if he is. He's telling Grogu, "Are you afraid? You should be." I don't even know who this guy is. I don't even know where they are. So that's interesting. And then Din is stuck here. Someone brought up maybe what this is the Hutt twins have a secret trapdoor. And it's like what's his name? It's like Jabba, where he has like a Rancor below. They might have a monster themselves, and that monster is going to have to fight Din without his armor. There's also the Mythosaur. The Mythosaur is still around, so I don't know what's gonna happen there. Let's see. We also have Zeb. This shot looked like it was straight out of Rise of Skywalker. Some type of speeder. Stormtroopers being thrown around. Whoa, what's that? Oh, I guess he's shooting. There's Zeb here. Hold on, let me get a better shot of him. I missed him again. What can you do? Let's see. There's Garib Zeb Aurelios in the flesh. It's wonderful. I can't get over that they got him into this movie. I hope people are nice to Zeb. I hope people aren't like, they're bringing a animated character into the movie. Another one of Filoni's member berries. Zeb is one of the best Star Wars characters. You treat him with respect. He does look good, doesn't he? Like, and they got I think Steve Bloom to do the voice. That's great. It's one of those things where like it's always hard whenever they do a live action character from animation, because most of the time they have to recast the role. You look at Ezra, look at Sabine, Ahsoka. Then there's the rare instance like a Bo-Katan, but with a character like Zeb, though, you don't have to recast the role. You know, you got a motion capture performance, and then you got someone to do the voice. So that's really cool that that it's Zeb has returned, and I'm hoping Callus is not far behind. Also wonder like how much of Zeb's in this movie, because he's already been in a lot of the marketing in the trailers. There's an action figure of him being made. I'm still waiting for the Black Series figure, but it's really great to see him. Let me see. Okay, these monsters are showing up. These are the Dejeric beasts. Little Rhodian. Then Grogu has to jump into this little like basket carriage pram. And this is the final like action sequence of the trailer. It's Din going after him. And this is where it really, I think, starts to feel like a movie. This is something that the show, I mean, the show maybe could have done this, but like this is why you need a movie, because this is like a full on like, you know, street chase. Kind of gives me Black Panther vibes. And there they are. There's Din. Let me just play it. And then the Mandalorian and Grogu. It looks like so much fun. I think that really this movie, I think it's going to work for a lot of people. I think what we have to keep in mind is that I feel like for kids, they're going to see this, they might really enjoy this. And it might do well. The only thing I'm nervous about is it comes out like a week or two before Masters of the Universe. And those are two movies that are like playing towards the same audiences. And I'm hoping that they don't hurt each other. Supergirl comes out, I think, near the end of that month of June. So we got some good ones coming out. Yes, Ludwig Göransson is returning to do the score, which is fabulous news because he didn't do it for season 3. And I forgot the name. Was it Rob something? He was his protege. He ended up scoring for him. But yeah, like I think it's great. He's coming back. I think it's great that Jon Favreau is directing. Like, Jon Favreau, I feel, is a bit hit or miss. I've liked a number of his films, but lately I feel like I haven't enjoyed his films. The last movie I really liked that he made was Jungle Book, and that was in 2016. But I hated Lion King. Um, it was, and that's the thing. Like, I'm hoping that this movie is more Jungle Book and less Lion King. I really did like Jon Favreau's um episode he directed of The Mandalorian, the one with Cobb Vanth and the Great Dragon. So I have faith in Jon Favreau. I think that he is a really fantastic storyteller, and I think he is going to be able to make this movie feel as grandiose as he can. But I also hope that, you know, it doesn't kind of fall victim to some of the flaws of the show or of Jon Favreau's other movies. Um, yeah, him and Bryce Dallas Howard. And you know what? I would be totally down if like they got Bryce Dallas Howard to direct one of these. That would be awesome. Um, but yeah, so that's why I think that will do it for me now. For this live stream. Thank you so much for watching, Car, and chatting along. Um, and for anyone watching this when it's not live and it's just uploaded, thank you for watching. So let me know in the comments what any of you guys think about this trailer, and feel free to like and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye.